probably what you want to know is that when these journey starts, right, for the SaaS transformation, so how do you decide on the success of that, right? How do you measure that? What kind of different data points you capture? How do you kind of look at that as well?
I think it's a great point, right? So all transformation journeys are messy. We were talking about this earlier, right? There's no beautiful way I can tell you, but mostly we stumble around, figure a path, and then get there, right? So there's no rocket science to it. But at the same time, you have to be prepared. So a lot of it, when we are starting on this journey for SaaS for a company like Philips, right? The very first thing is to figure out what is our North Star. Or when do you say, okay, you are a SaaS company, right? So you need to figure out the metrics that you really want to track. Typically business metrics. So it could be AR or whatever else you want to put in place, right? But obviously, in a journey of transformation, this is going to take some time. You need to also be able to find out in that journey before you reach a point where you start measuring and tracking your final metrics. How are you progressing? What are your indicators to measure that? And those are more about the internal transformations, the mindset change, and the capability change that we have to track, right? So, am I able to release software more frequently than before, right? As a medical device product, if I'm releasing an MRI scanner version, it takes about 18 months because it's a hardware, software, electrical, mechanical, and so on. If I'm releasing a software product, it might take 6 months because sometimes the regulatory submissions to FDA takes time and so on and so forth. But can I do it faster? Can I do it every quarter? Can I do it every 2 weeks? Can I do it daily? So you have to track certain metrics that shows that some of the capabilities and the muscles that you need are getting built, right? So that is a starting point. And eventually, for that period, you should not be hung up too much on the outcome because that's going to take time to build. So it's a flywheel effect that you have to drive to make sure that you are feeding the flywheel and slowly, obviously, then gains traction. And that's the way I would see. So we start with a lot of internal metrics and measure that. And how are we doing on some of the capabilities of the build? And hopefully, as we complete the transformation, we see more traction on the outcome metrics that we should have.
So how difficult it is to get these metrics, right, when we start? So maybe the processes have to be altered, the teams have to be kind of really the mindset, talk about this to be set. So how do you get all these things and then probably the metrics starts coming in?
Many ways to skin the cat. You can transform in different ways, but you have to start somewhere. A lot of it is about communication, driving capabilities, putting in right people at the right places, and it's also, especially when we go towards SaaS and cloud, right? You can bring a lot more standardization than we could do before for different products in different capabilities. How you build a small patient monitor, how you build an MRI is so different that maybe standardization is different, right? But when you go to the cloud and when you go to SaaS propositions, you can bring in more standardization. And when you bring in those capabilities, you, along with the capability, also bring in the metrics and the monitoring along with it. Because some of these capabilities traditionally have been thought about post-facto. I release a product, then I hit problems in service, then I figure out how do I know what's happening, right? Whereas there's a lot of community of practice and best practices out there in the world today of SaaS cloud where we know that there's no other way to see it because it's not like a product is sitting somewhere and you can track it. It is in the cloud. You have access to it. You can do a better job of tracking it. So I think a lot of it is keeping abreast and bringing some of those new capabilities like observability, monitoring, metrics, right? Upfront as part of your transformation and architecture, and of course it's not going to be a flip switch, but everything that you do new, if you can build that way, slowly you can bring the other capabilities on top, on par with that. So I think there's no straight answer. It's a messy one, but you have to start somewhere.